slide. Okay, you guys can see? Yeah? Okay, perfect. I can't see though. Alright, sige, let me just show you na lang my slide para makita ko rin siya. So for this afternoon, we will be talking about the joints of the lower extremity, but also touching on the bones that compose the lower extremity. Okay, so these are my objectives. These are the references. Okay, and let's start with the pelvic girdle. Okay, so the pelvic girdle, also known as the hip girdle, it consists of two hip bones. Okay, one on the right and one on the left side. Okay, ang synonym niya is coxal or pelvic bones or os coxa. Okay, so when I say these things, no, they are these terminologies are derivative of Latin or Greek in origin. So pag sinabi natin cox, we are pertaining to the hip. Okay, so the hip bones, they unite anteriorly. Okay, they unite anteriorly here, okay, at a joint called the pubic symphysis. They unite posteriorly with the sacrum at the sacroiliac joints. Now, the complete ring is composed of the hip bones, okay, the two hip bones, this part and this part, the pubic symphysis, and the sacrum. And they form a deep basin-like structure called the bony pelvis. So, pelv comes from the Latin word which means basin. So, yung plural ng pelvis ay pelves or pelvises. Now, functionally, the bony pelvis provides a strong and stable support for the vertebral column and pelvic and lower abdominal organs like the uterus, the bladder, right? Now, the pelvic girdle of the bony pelvis also connects the bones of the lower limbs to the axial skeleton. Okay? So, there are some significant differences between the shoulder girdle and the pelvic or hip girdle. So, the shoulder or the pectoral girdle does not articulate, okay, with the vertebral column, but the pelvic girdle does so via the sacroiliac joint. The sockets or yung glenoid fossa of the upper extremity in the pectoral girdle are shallow, mababaw lang. Thus, it maximizes movement. In contrast to the sockets of the acetabula for the lower limbs in the pelvic girdle, which are mainly deep, okay, malalim, and allow less movement. So overall, the structure of the pectoral girdle offers more mobility than strength, and that of the pelvic girdle offers more strength than mobility. Now, each of the two hip bones, okay, of a newborn, so this is not a newborn's pelvic ring, ha? This is an adult pelvic ring. But I'd like you to know that in a newborn, it consists of three bones separated by cartilage. So you have a superior ilium, an inferior and anterior pubis, okay, and an inferior and posterior ischium. Okay? By age 23, so at 23 years old, the three separate fuse together, and although the hip bones are considered three separate bones, anatomists, okay, commonly discuss each bone separately, but we look at them as one functionally. Okay, so let's proceed first with the ilium. Okay, so the ilium comes from the Latin word which means flank. Okay, this is the largest of the three components of the hip bone and is composed of a superior ala. Okay, so this is the superior ala. or what you also call in some books the wing, and an inferior body. Okay, this one, this is the body. The body helps form a structure called the acetabulum. Hold on. Acetabulum. Acetabulum. Okay, so acetabulum, the socket for the head of the femur. Okay, so the superior border of the ilium is called the iliac crest. Okay, here, iliac crest. Okay, so the iliac crest, and then it ends anteriorly, okay, in a blunt structure called the anterior superior iliac spine. Anterior superior iliac spine. Now, there is a condition. There is a bruising, for example, of the anterior superior iliac spine and its associated soft tissues. Okay? Such a condition occurs in contact sports like soccer or football, basketball, ganyan. And this condition is called a hip pointer. Okay, tandaan, bruising of the anterior superior iliac spine together with its associated structure is called a hip pointer. Okay, mabalik tayo sa ilium. Okay, below this anterior superior iliac spine is the anterior inferior iliac spine. So the anterior inferior iliac spine. Okay? Ngayon, what are these spines all about? They serve as points of attachment for the tendons of the muscles of the trunk, muscles of the hip, and muscles of the thighs. Okay? Below the posterior inferior iliac spine is the greater sciatic notch. Okay? So, posterior superior iliac spine, below that is the greater sciatic notch. Okay? Through which the sciatic nerve, which is the longest nerve in the body, passes. Now, the medial surface of the ilium contains a structure called the iliac fossa. Okay, so the iliac fossa, a concavity where the tendon of the iliacus muscles attaches. Okay, now posterior to this fossa is a structure called the, hold on, let me just, so this is the posterior inferior iliac spine. I think it's in the other slide. Okay, so this is the greater sciatic notch. Okay, so kita nyo, this is just half of it. Okay, when you actually put the pelvis together, then you would, together with its corresponding ligaments, then you will appreciate more the greater sciatic notch. Okay, so next we have the iliac fossa. So ano ulit yung sabi natin sa iliac fossa? So this is the iliac fossa. Yan, so the iliac fossa is a concavity. Para siyang maliit na depression. Okay? And bakit siya depressed? Bakit parang it's sort of a small basin? Because this is where the tendon of the iliacus muscle, this is where you will find the iliacus muscle. Okay? Now, posterior to this fossa is the iliac tuberosity. Okay? So, the iliac tuberosity, mas kita siya dito. The iliac tuberosity, on the other hand, is a point of attachment of the sacroiliac ligament. Okay? We also have the auricular surface. Okay? So, the auricular surface, it's right here. Okay? So, the auricular surface comes from the Greek word auric. Auric, which means ear shape. Pwede naman, no? Mukha naman siyang ear. So, this is a place or an area which articulates with the sacrum to form the sacroiliac joint. Okay? So, the sacroiliac joint, ito po yung structure na nakabilog in red. So, that's the sacroiliac joint. Okay? Now, projecting anteriorly and inferiorly from the auricular surface is a ridge called the arcuate line. Balik po tayo dito sa figure on the upper left corner. You will note that there is a structure daw called the arcuate line. So, itong line na to, this is the arcuate line. Okay? And the other conspicuous markings of the ileum are the three arch lines on its lateral surface called the posterior gluteal line. Balik tayo sa figure on the right lower. We have the posterior gluteal line, the structure right here. We also have the anterior gluteal line, which is the structure right here, and the inferior gluteal line, yung number 9, which is the structure right here. So, as its name implies, the gluteal muscles attach to the ileum between these lines. Okay? So, that is the ileum. Now, okay? Below the posterior inferior iliac spine is the, again, remember the great sciatic notch. So, huwag kayong malilito if you can't really see na ba't parang hindi naman siya opening. It's actually closed off by a ligament right here. All right? So, that's for the ileum and its associated structures and joints. So, ang pinakatatandaan nyo dito is the sacroiliac joint, which is very particular for the lower extremity because it really articulates directly to the vertebra, right? Now, let's proceed with the second structure called the ischium. The ischium naman, guys, is the inferior, posterior portion of the hip bone. So, dito, dun sa lower right hand of the drawing, this is the reddish structure right here. Okay? So, the ischium is comprised of a superior body. So, the superior body of the ischium is this one. And an inferior ramus. Okay? So, the inferior ramus is right here. Okay? The inferior ramus. Okay? The ramus is the portion of the ischium that fuses with the pubis. Okay? So, kung saan nagkikita yung ischium at pubis is at the rami portion or the ramus portion. Okay? What are the features of the ischium? Now, features of the ischium include the prominent ischial spine. So, in this figure, this is the ischial spine. Okay? It also has a lesser sciatic notch. Okay? Lesser sciatic notch. So, parang ba't hindi naman mukha siyang notch eh? It does look like a notch in vivo kasi meron dyang ligament na nagko-close off kaya mas halata siyang notch. Okay? So, greater sciatic notch is to ilium. Lesser sciatic notch is to the ischium. Alright? And then we also have the lesser sciatic notch is below the ischial spine. Okay? And then we also have a rough and thickened ischial tuberosity. Saan ang ischial tuberosity? Ito siya. Okay? So, right now, I'm guessing that you guys are sitting down, right? So, aside from your buttocks, nakaupo kayo guys sa ischial tuberosity ninyo. Kaya for those of you na sobrang papayat, wala na kayong luteal fat masyado, medyo masakit umupo, no? Doon sa mga patients na very emaciated because inuupuan nila yung kanilang ischial tuberosity. Okay? So, this prominent tuberosity may hurt a person's thigh. So, minsan, pagka meron kayong friend, bigla kayong inupuan sa hita, di ba? It can actually hurt your thigh when a person who is thin sits on your lap. All right? So, there. So, together, the ramus and the pubis surround the obturator foramen. Okay? So, ito guys, upper right-hand corner photo. This is the obturator foramen. Okay? Obturator foramen. Alright? So, it comes from the Greek word which means obtur. Obtur means closed up, sarado. But sarado? Kasi nasasarahan siya ng obturator membrane. Okay? So, note that the obturator foramen is the largest foramen in the skeleton. Guys, pag nakakarinig kayo ng mga superlatives, largest, biggest, most, least, take note yun na yun. Kasi tatanong yan sa quiz or sa exam. So, what I'm saying is that the obturator foramen is the largest foramen in the skeleton. Okay? So, that foramen, that obturator foramen is so named because even though blood vessels and nerves pass through it, it is nearly completely closed by the fibrous obturator membrane. Diba? Kita naman dito sa photograph na it's really closed. Okay? So that's the obturator membrane, number 7. Alright? So, that is for the ischium. So, first, ileum. Second, ischium. So, guys, huwag tayo malilito sa ileum at ischium. Pag sinabi natin ileum, that's the biggest one. Yung ischium, that's the smaller and more inferior one. Okay? O, punta na tayo, pinakamadali, the pubis. The pubis, okay, or the pubic bone, this is the anterior and inferior part of the hip bone. Okay? So, what are its parts? It has a superior ramus. Ito, superior ramus. An inferior ramus. Saan yun? This one, inferior ramus. And a body. Okay? Between the rami, which comprise the pubis. Now, the anterior superior border of the body is the pubic crest. Okay, saan yung pubic crest? Ito. Ito daw yung pinakaharap, okay, ng pubic bone. And at its lateral end, you see a projection called the pubic tubercle. Saan yung pubic tubercle? Tama naman, projection. Ito siya, number 5. Okay, that's a pubic tubercle. This tubercle is the beginning of a raised line. So, pag daw tinignan mo, kinuha mo si pubic tubercle, tuntunin mo daw siya pataas. It is the beginning of a raised line, and this line has a name. Its name is the pectineal line. So, saan siya dito? Ito guys, ititrace ko. Pectineal line, number 6. Okay? Which extends superiorly, okay, and laterally along the superior ramus to merge with the arcuate line of the ileum. So guys, if the pectineal line is for the pubis, then the arcuate line is for the blank. Anong sagot? Ileum. Okay? So that's for the ileum. Alright, so these lines, as you will see shortly, they are important landmarks for distinguishing the superior, also known as the false, and the inferior, also known as the true portions of the bony pelvis. Kasi di ba may true bony pelvis, may false pelvis, right? O, balik na tayo dito sa pubis. The next one is the pubic symphysis. So, the pubic symphysis is the joint. Okay, saan siya dito? Upper right corner. Okay, it's not working. Sorry, the pubic symphysis is this one, guys. The pubic symphysis is the joint between the two pubic bones, pubis of the hip bones. It consists of a disc of fibrocartilage that doesn't really move. So the only time that the pubic symphysis can actually move is when? During pregnancy. It actually expands or swells so that it can accommodate childbirth. All right. So, okay. So that's for the pubic symphysis. It is mainly made of a fibrocartilage disc. Now, inferior to this joint, the inferior rami of the two pubic bones, they converge to form the arch. Okay? So this guys, dito sa baba, okay, number 8, this is the pubic arch. Right? So the pubic arch basically is located inferior to the pubic symphysis. Now, in the later stages of pregnancy, there is a hormone called relaxin. Okay? The relaxin, guys, is a hormone that is produced ovaries and the placenta. So, what does this hormone do? Relaxin increases the flexibility of the pubic symphysis to ease delivery of the baby. All right? So, weakening of the joint, okay, together with an already altered center of gravity due to an enlarged uterus, also changes the gait during pregnancy. Diba, yung mga pregnant patients, they have a waddling gait. And it's because of the weight of the uterus that they're carrying, also because nagiging lax yung pubic symphysis. Alright? Alright. Next, we have the acetabulum. Napag-usapan na natin to kanina. Acetabulum comes from the Greek word acetabulum, which means vinegar cup. Siguro during the Greek times, ganito yung itsura ng vinegar cup nila. It is a deep fossa. So, dito sa figure, this is the acetabulum. No? It is a deep fossa formed by the ileum, ischium, and pubis. So, pag tinanong kayo, true or false, all of the ileum, pubis, and ischium contribute to the acetabulum. The answer dyan, automatic, ay true. Huwag na kayong mag-isip. Okay? So, it functions as the socket that accepts the rounded head of the femur, as shown in this photograph. Now, together, the acetabulum and the femoral head form the hip joint, also known as the coxal joint. So guys, pag pala sinabi natin na hip, hindi lang siya yung femoral head. Hindi rin siya yung acetabulum. It is actually the combination of the two structures. Okay? So there you go. Next. Okay. Lastly, so the hip or the coxal joint. So that entire structure right there is what we call the hip joint. Okay? So, any questions so far? Okay. So, on the inferior side of the acetabulum, okay, there is a deep indentation called the acetabular notch, okay, that forms a foramen which blood vessels go through, okay, but it's no longer shown in this photograph. Okay, so there it is for the ileum, ischium, and pubis. Now, kanina, I already mentioned the false and the true pelvis. So, generally, the bones of males, they are larger, okay, and heavier, and possess larger surface markings than those of female counterparts of comparable age and physical stature. So there is actually sex-related differences in the features of bones that are readily apparent, okay? Comparing the male and the female pelvis, okay? So, let me just, hold on. So, most of the structural differences in the pelvis are mainly adaptations to the requirements of pregnancy and childbirth, okay? So, the female pelvis, as you note in this table, it is wider, okay, and shallower as compared to the male bony pelvis. Consequently, there is more space, okay, in the true pelvis of the female, especially in the pelvic inlet and the pelvic outlet. Okay, this is to accommodate the passage of the infant's head at birth. Okay, so other significant structural differences are written in this table, and I will share this uh, PowerPoint or a copy of this PowerPoint to you. Okay, so these are the different structures or the differences in the structures of the male and female bony pelvis. All right? Okay. Now, let's proceed to the lower limb. So, kanina, pinag-usapan natin is the pelvis. Now, we are actually proceeding to the lower limb proper, which is the free limb, okay, that we use to ambulate. So, each lower limb, also known as lower extremity, has 30 bones, okay, in 4 locations. You have you have the femur in the thigh, you have the patella, you have the tibia and fibula in the leg, and the 7 tarsals and in the ankle, and the 5 metatarsals in the foot, and the 14 phalanges, okay, or the bones in the foot or in the toes. Let's first start with the lower limb, namely the femur. So the femur or the thigh bone is the longest, the heaviest, and strongest bone in the body. Okay, so its proximal end articulates with the what? With the acetabulum of the hip bone. Whereas its distal end, okay, yung dulo niya, distally, articulates with the tibia and the patella. So what are the parts of the femur? So number 1, we have the body. Okay, san yan? This is the body of the femur. Another term for the body of the femur is the shaft of the femur. Okay? And as you see, it angles medially. Right? Hindi naman siya pag ganun eh. It angles medially. And as a result, the knee or the joints of the knee are closer to the midline. Okay? So the angle, we call this the angle of convergence, is greater in females because the female pelvis is broader. So what we are saying here is mas closer mas malaki. Okay, so there is a bigger angle compared to males na almost straight down lang. Okay, so the proximal end of the femur consists of a rounded head. Okay, so kindly take a look at the right upper corner of the photo of the slide. So it is composed of the head. So saan yung head? It's this one, the head of the femur, and that articulates, guys, with the acetabulum of the hip bone to form the hip joint or the coxal joint. The head contains a small centered depression, parang butas or a pit, called the fovea capitis. Okay, so the fovea capitis is this one, number 4. Okay, so the fovea capitis. So fovea means pit, capitis means head. So the ligament of the head of the femur connects the fovea capitis of the femur to the acetabulum of the hip bone. Okay? So the neck of the femur, saan siya? Neck of the femur is number 5. Tingin dito sa baba. The neck of the femur is a constricted region that is distal to the head. Now, in ortho, okay, when we say a broken hip, we're not really pertaining to this whole structure right here. Okay? By tradition, when we say a broken hip, it is more often associated with a fracture in the neck of the femur than fractures of the hip bones. Okay? So just just a reminder lang. A broken hip mainly refers to the broken femoral neck, okay, by practice or by tradition. Now, there's also another structure called the greater trochanter. So, it is number 6. Tingin tayo dito sa picture at the center. The greater trochanter and also the lesser trochanter, number 7, right here, lesser trochanter. The lesser trochanter are projections from the junction of the neck and shaft. And these greater and lesser trochanter serve as points of attachment for the tendons of some of the thigh and buttock muscles. Okay, for 100 Gcash, as if it matters, no? What structure attaches to the greater trochanter? Give me one. Cheap naman, 100 Gcash. Wala na akong maisip, guys. What structure attaches to the greater troch? Sige nga. 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, sige. Rogibel. Bigyan mo ko ng isa lang.
Gluteus medius po.
Ang galing. Okay, so anong gusto mo? Gcash or chocolate na lang when I see you? Okay. So, okay, greater trochanter, gluteus medius, and ano pa isa? Minimus. Okay, ba't tanggapin ko na yung medius? Guys, yung gluteus maximus, hindi yun naka-attach sa greater trochanter, no? Sa baba pa yun naka-attach. O sa lesser trochanter, ano naka-attach? Anyone? For 1 chocolate bar. Or yun bang kailangan nyo? Nakakaantok yun eh. Siguro energy drink na lang. Gatorade. For 1 Gatorade. Guys, Gatorade na lang pala. Mas kailangan yun. Pampagising. Red Bull. Yan. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? So, what's attached naman to the lesser troch? Iliopsoas. Diba? Kapag ka lesser trochanter, iliopsoas, huwag na kayo mag-isip. O, nasan na tayo? So, sabi natin, these two structures, greater trochanter, lesser trochanter, these are points of attachment for some of the tendons, no? Of some of the thigh and buttock muscles. So, the greater trochanter, guys, ito si number 6, is the prominence felt and seen anterior to the hollow on the side of the hip. So, pag kinakapan nyo, guys, yung balakang nyo, okay, yung pinaka-widest point niyan, yan po ang greater trochanter. Hindi po yan iliac crest. Kasi kung ikukumpara nyo naman, no, mas outside pa yung greater troch compared nyo po sa iliac crest. Okay? So, kapag sinasabing hip, yung pagka nagsusukat kayo for your clothes, you are measuring at the widest area of your hip, which is actually at the greater trochanter. So, it is a landmark commonly used to locate the site for intramuscular injections into the lateral surface of the thigh. Whereas, the lesser trochanter is inferior. Oh, mas mababa siya, inferior, and medial to the greater trochanter. Now, between the anterior surfaces of the trochanters is a narrow intertrochanteric line. So, saan siya? Ito, intertrochanteric line. Okay? So, this is a ridge. At the back of it, mas makikita nyo, bakit ang dami na kagad? So, there is a ridge called the intertrochanteric crest. So, mas apparent siya sa likod, the intertrochanteric crest. So, pagharap, guys, intertrochanteric line. Paglikod, intertrochanteric crest. Mas kita yung intertrochanteric crest sa likod. Okay, and it appears, yung intertrochanteric crest appears between the posterior surfaces of the trochanters. Inferior to the intertrochanteric crest on the posterior surface of the body of the femur is a vertical ridge called the gluteal tuberosity. So, ito yon, guys. Gluteal tuberosity. Okay? So, the gluteal tuberosity and this gluteal tuberosity blends into another vertical ridge called the linea aspera. Okay? Linea, line, aspera, asper, which means rough. Okay? So both ridges serve as attachment points for the tendons of several thigh muscles. O sige nga, ano yung pwedeng naka-attach sa linea aspera? Yung mga vastus. Diba? Mga vastus muscles. Vastus medialis, vastus lateralis. Okay? So, both ridges, gluteal tuberosity. Ano kaya naka-attach sa gluteal tuberosity? Eh, malamang yung gluteus muscles, no? Okay? So gluteus muscles and, gluteal tuberosity and linea aspera. The expanded, punta tayo sa baba, the expanded distal end of the femur includes the medial condyle and the lateral condyle. So, saan yun dito? This one, medial condyle and the lateral condyle. Okay? These articulate with the medial and lateral condyles of the tibia. Superior to the condyles are the medial epicondyle and the lateral epicondyle. So, saan yun? Just a little bit above. The condyles are the medial epicondyle. Epi, ibig sabihin before, right? So, this is the medial epicondyle and this is the lateral epicondyle. Okay? To which ligaments of the knee attach. Ngayon, there is a depressed area, ito, between the condyles on the posterior surface, and this is called the intercondylar fossa. So, this is the intercondylar fossa. Okay? The patellar surface is located between the condyles on the anterior surface. Sa harap naman, patellar surface. So, dito guys, at the rightmost photo, this is the patellar surface of the femur. Okay, so those are the femur. This is the femur and its associated structures. Okay, let's proceed now sa patella. Very easy. So the patella, Latin, which means little dish. Okay, in lay people's term, called the kneecap. This is a small triangular bone located anterior to the knee joint. Okay, so you see that the patella is broad at the proximal end and it tapers down. So this is a kind of sesamoid bone. It is actually the biggest sesamoid bone in the body, which develops in the tendon of the quadriceps femoris muscle. Okay, so there are also parts of the patella. So there is the base. So here, this is the base of the patella. The pointed distal end is referred to the apex, which is this one, apex. The posterior surface, on the other hand, so guys, kung ano yung rough, yun yung anterior. Kung ano yung smooth, ito yung posterior. The posterior surface contains two articular facets. Okay? One for the medial condyle of the femur and another for the lateral condyle of the femur. So, saan yung articular facets? So, ito. These are the articular facets. Isa for each condyle ng femur. Now, the patellar ligament attaches the patella to the tibial tuberosity. And the patellofemoral joint, which is this one, is between the posterior surface of the patella and the patellar surface of the femur. So, this is actually the patella mostly articulate with the femur than with the tibia. So, the intermediate component of the tibiofemoral or the knee joint. Okay, so pagka sinabi nating tuhod, ang una nating naisip is the articulation of the femur and the tibia, but actually there is also another articulation, and that is with the patellofemoral joint or the patella and the femur. So ano bang trabaho ng patella? The patella is important because it increases the leverage of the tendon of the quadriceps femoris tendon. Sa madaling sabi, the patella helps in straightening the knee or extending the knee. Okay? It maintains the position of the tendon when the knee is bent or flexed, and it also protects the knee joint. So that's basically the patella and the patellofemoral joint for you. Okay? Now, I'd just like to touch on this because this is a very common, patellar condition. This is called the patellofemoral stress syndrome. Mas kilala siya sa tawag na runner's knee. This is one of the most common problems that runners experience. So, yung mga ano dyan, kakilala nyo in their runners era, you might want to warn them about this, or if they ask you about this, this is the most common condition that runners experience. So what happens here? So during normal flexion and extension of the knee, your patella, it glides upward and downward, right? Superiorly and inferiorly, it tracks or glides in the groove between the femoral condyles. So in patellofemoral stress syndrome, this normal gliding does not occur. Okay, instead, the patella glides outwards. It glides laterally as well as superiorly and inferiorly. So, ala siya sa posisyon, right? And the increased pressure on the joint causes aches and pains or aching and tenderness around or under the patella kasi hindi naman yung tamang course ng patella, right? That's not the proper pathway of the patella. So the pain typically occurs after a person has been sitting for a while, especially after exercise. So mas nararamdaman nila when at rest. And it is worsened by squatting or walking downstairs. So one cause of runner's knee is constantly walking, constantly running, constantly jogging on the same side, okay, of the road. Because the road sloped down on the sides, the knee that is closer to the center of the road endures greater mechanical stress because it does not fully extend during a stride, right? Other predisposing factors include running on hills, running long distances like marathon running, and an anatomical deformity called a knock knee or genu valgus or yung tinatawag nating pikit, right? So that's patellofemoral stress syndrome, also known as runner's knee. Okay, next. Okay, as we go downwards after the patellofemoral joint, we now see the tibia. The tibia, okay, the next bone of the lower extremity or shin bone is the larger medial weight-bearing bone of the leg. The term tibia means flute, okay, as the tibial bones of birds were used in ancient times to make musical instruments. Now, the tibia articulates at its proximal end with the femur and the fibula, and at its distal end with the fibula and the talus bone of the ankle. Now, the tibia and fibula, katulad ng radius and ulna, are connected by an interosseous membrane, right? So, it is parang katulad siya ng radius and ulna, may interosseous membrane. The proximal end of the tibia is expanded into number 1, the lateral condyle, and the medial condyle. Okay, so this is the lateral condyle, and number 2, the medial condyle. This one. Okay, the lateral, the medial condyle. These articulate with the condyles of the femur to form the lateral and medial tibiofemoral joints. So, tibiofemoral joint, also known as the knee joint. Okay, so saan siya? Ito siya, guys. Okay, the tibiofemoral joints. Okay. The inferior surface of the lateral condyle articulates with the head of the fibula. Okay? So, the slightly concave condyles are separated by an upward projection called the intercondylar eminence. So, here, this is the intercondylar eminence. Guys, hindi po yung sa femur ha. Dito po siya sa tibia. So, that is the structure where you could see projections at yung gitna ng dalawang spines na yon or projections na yon is called the intercondylar eminence. We also have another structure, the tibial tuberosity. The tibial tuberosity is found naman on the anterior aspect, on the anterior side. The tibial tuberosity is on the anterior side or surface and is a point of attachment for the patellar ligament. Now, inferior to and continues with the tibial tuberosity is a sharp ridge. A sharp ridge that can be felt below the skin, known as the anterior border or the anterior crest or shin. Okay, so this is number 6. Okay, the tibial crest or the tibial anterior border of the tibia. Okay, so actually, that part of the tibia is subcutaneous. Kapag kinapa nyo ang binti nyo, ang kinakapa nyo is the tibial crest. On the other hand, the medial surface of the distal end of the tibia, okay, the medial surface of the distal end of the tibia forms the medial malleolus. Okay, so malleolus comes from the Latin word which means hammer. Siguro ganyan itsura ng hammer nung unang panahon. So dito sa structure, sa photo, number 7 right here, guys, this is the medial, oh, what's going on? Okay, so this, guys, is the medial malleolus. Okay, medial malleolus. Okay, medial malleolus. So this structure articulates with the talus of the ankle and forms the prominence that can be felt on the medial surface of the ankle. Okay, there's another structure called the fibular notch. Okay, so the fibular notch, this one, okay, the fibular notch articulates with the distal end of the fibula to form the distal tibiofibular joint. Okay, the distal tibiofibular joint. Okay, so pag tinignan nyo yung tibia, talagang merong uka. At that uka, okay, is a depression that is meant para higaan o upuan ng distal fibula. And that is the structure called the distal tibiofibular joint. Okay? So, just a trivia, of all the long bones of the body, the tibia is the most commonly or the most frequently fractured bone and is also the most frequent site. Okay? So, let's proceed. Next bone would be the fibula. So, the fibula is parallel and lateral to the tibia, but it is considered smaller. Okay? So, mas maliit siya compared sa tibia. Okay? Unlike the tibia, the fibula does not articulate with the femur. Okay? So, if you will take a look at this photograph, okay? Aling part dito ng fibula ang nag-touch sa femur? Wala, di ba? Puro tibia lang. Okay? So, the fibula does not, I repeat, does not articulate with the femur, but it does help stabilize the ankle joint. Dito sa baba siya nakakatulong. It helps stabilize the ankle joint. So, what are the parts of the fibula? Number 1, we have the head of the fibula. Ito, number 1, the head of the fibula. This is located at the proximal end and articulates with the inferior surface of the lateral condyle of the tibia below the level of the knee joint. Okay? This is to form the proximal tibiofibular joint. The proximal tibiofibular joint. The distal end is more arrowhead shaped. Okay? It's more arrowhead shaped and has a projection called the lateral malleolus. Lateral malleolus that articulates with the talus of the ankle. And this forms the prominence on the lateral surface of the ankle. So as noted previously, the fibula also articulates with the tibia at the fibular notch to form the distal tibiofibular joint. Okay? So kung meron kang proximal tibiofibular joint, meron ka ring distal tibiofibular joint. Nandito siya sa ankle. But the difference is that itong si distal fibula, hindi lang po siya kay tibia naka-articulate din siya kay talus. And it does so so that it provides more stability to the ankle joint. Diba? So both medial and lateral malleolus, you can actually palpate. Okay? So guys, sa exam, pag tinanong, if tibia is to medial malleolus, then fibula is to lateral malleolus. Very good. Okay? So, just a little side note. So, there's a procedure, what we call a bone grafting. Okay? This generally consists of taking a piece of bone, kukuha ka ng pirasong buto, along with its periosteum, its cover, and nutrient artery, from one part of the body to replace a missing bone in another part of the body. So the transplanted bone will restore the blood supply to the transplanted site. So here, kumuha tayo ng piece of the fibula and we transplanted it to the proximal femur. Okay? And this will help to heal a fracture, okay, or heal a non-viable site. So the fibula is a common source of bone for bone grafting because even after a piece of the fibula has been removed, walking, running, and jumping can be normal. Okay? So why is this so? Because recall that the tibia is the weight-bearing bone of the leg. So ang fibula, important siya dito proximally and dito distally. Kahit tanggalin mo yung gitna, that's okay. Because what you need is the more proximal and more distal parts of it. So you can sacrifice the midshaft. Okay? Not saying naman we do this left and right. We do this if there is indication. All right. Let's proceed to the last structure. Okay? The bones of the foot. So let's first start with the tarsals. Okay? So tarsus, what does tarsus mean? Tarsus comes from the means ankle. So this is the proximal region of the foot and consists of 7 and we also have the 3 cuneiform bones. Cuneiform means wedge-shaped. Okay? So we have 3 cuneiform bones. We have the lateral. Okay? So we have the lateral. Tingin na lang dito sa pointer. We have the lateral cuneiform, the medial, the second or the intermediate cuneiform, and lastly, we have the medial cuneiform, okay, or cuneiform. And then to end it up, we have this big bone or wedge shape or cube shape bone right here, which is called the cuboid. Okay, this is the cuboid. All right. So joints between the tarsal bones are called intertarsal joints. Ulit, the joints between the tarsal bones are called the intertarsal bones. So yung nakabilog na yan, those are called the intertarsal joints. Okay? The talus, the most superior tarsal bone, is the only bone of the foot. It is the only bone of the foot that articulates with the fibula and tibia. Okay? So it articulates on one side with the medial malleolus of the tibia and on the other side with the lateral malleolus of the fibula. Okay? So, these articulations form the talocrural or ankle joint. So, yung isa pang tawag natin ang isa pang tawag natin sa ankle joint is the talocrural joint. Okay? So, during walking, the talus, itong bone na ito, transmits about half the weight of the body to the calcaneus. Okay? Whereas the remainder is transmitted to the other tarsal bones. Okay? So, huwag kakalimutan, intertarsal joints, this one, and this is the talocrural joint. So, only the talus articulates with the tibia and the distal fibula. Alright? Next, the metatarsals. The metatarsals, okay, or the metatarsus, this is the intermediate region of the foot and consists of 5 metatarsal bones, numbers 1 to 5. Okay, so numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So, from medial to lateral po ang bilang natin, ha? Metatarsal 1, metatarsal 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so, like the metacarpals of the hand, each metatarsal consists of a proximal base. So, nasan siya? This is the proximal base. Okay? An intermediate shaft. Number 2, intermediate shaft. And a distal head. Okay, that's the distal head. The metatarsals articulate proximally with the first, second, second, and third cuneiform bones, or the lateral, intermediate, and medial cuneiform, okay, to form the tarso-metatarsal joints. Okay, so that's the tarso-metatarsal joints. Distally naman, they articulate with the proximal row of phalanges to form the metatarsophalangeal joints. Okay? Note that the first metatarsal, ito po, the first metatarsal is weight. Okay? So, some clinical correlations. Fractures of the metatarsals occur when a heavy object, let's say a hammer, falls on the foot, or when a heavy object, like a car, rolls over the foot. Such fractures are also common among dancers, especially ballerinas or ballet dancers. So if a ballet dancer is on the tip of his or her toes and loses his or her balance, the full body weight is placed where? Dito, sa metatarsals. Okay? Causing one or more of them to fracture. So here, the fracture is located fourth and third metatarsal. Dito, ang fracture nasaan? First and second metatarsal. Dito, di masyadong halata, but the fracture is located on the third, fourth, and fifth metatarsal. Same goes, third, fourth, fifth metatarsal. Okay? Alright, last but not the least, we have the phalanges. The phalanges comprise the distal component of the foot and resemble those of the hand, both in number and in arrangement. So, the toes are numbered 1 to 5. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, beginning with the big toe or the great toe from medial to lateral. Each phalanx, singular yung phalanx, plural phalanges, consists of a proximal base. Saan siya? Proximal base. Okay, this one. It has a proximal base. It has an intermediate shaft. This one. And a distal head. This one. Okay? Ulit. Each phalanx consists of a proximal base, an intermediate shaft, and a distal head. The great or big toe, or yung tinatawag natin na hallux, okay? The hallux or the big toe has 2 large, heavy phalanges. 1 2. Okay? So, for the big toe, dalawa lang yung phalanges niya. However, the other 4 toes each have 3 phalanges. Meron siyang proximal phalanx, middle phalanx, and distal phalanx. Joints between phalanges of the foot, like those of the hand, are called interphalangeal joints. So this and this are called interphalangeal joints. Okay? So this is the metatarsophalangeal joint. This naman is the interphalangeal joints. Okay? Now, just some asides. So the bones of the foot, they are arranged into arches. Okay? So, ito, arch, arch, arch. They are arranged into arches that are held in position. These arches are held in position by ligaments and tendons. Okay? So, the arches, why are we talking about them? The arches are important because they enable the foot to support the weight of the body. These arches provide an ideal distribution of body weight over the soft and hard tissues of the foot, and they provide leverage while walking. So these arches, they are not rigid, okay? They yield, gumagalaw sila, nagbabago sila as weight is applied and spring back when the weight is lifted, thus storing energy for the next step and helping to absorb shocks. Usually, these arches fully develop at age 12 or 14. So let's talk about these arches. So the longitudinal arch, okay, the longitudinal arch has 2 parts, okay, both of which consist of the tarsal bones and the metatarsal bones, okay, arranged to form an arch from the anterior to the posterior part of the foot. So, the medial part of the longitudinal arch, ito guys, I'm tracing this. This is longitudinal arch. This is longitudinal arch. Tama? Okay. So, ito sa bandang labas, this is the lateral longitudinal arch. Okay? Dun sa kabila, okay, kunwari, banda dito, we are looking at the medial. Ito yung medial longitudinal arch. So, the medial part, ito guys, the medial longitudinal arch, which originates from the calcaneus, rises to the talus, okay, and descends through the navicular, the 3 cuneiforms, okay, and the heads of the 3 medial metatarsals. Okay? Ito namang lateral part of the longitudinal arch also begins at the calcaneus. It rises at the cuboid and descends to the heads of the 2 lateral metatarsals. Okay? So, the medial portion, ito guys, the medial portion of the longitudinal arch is so high, mas mataas siya. Okay? That it's high that the medial portion of the foot between the ball and heel does not touch the ground when you walk on the hard surface. So, ang sinasabi natin dito, when you, for example, are walking sa beach, di ba? Yung paa nyo ba, hindi naman siya yung tipong paa na flat eh. Di ba merong curve? And that curve, located medially, is created by your medial longitudinal arch. Mas mataas siya. So, pag tinignan nyo ngayon yung mga paa nyo, hindi naman flat na flat yan. May konting arco siya on the medial side. That, guys, is the medial longitudinal arch. So, parang yung footprints in the sand, di ba? Ganun yung shape kapag ka meron kang functioning medial longitudinal arch. Okay, punta tayo dun sa last arch. Meron pang isa, the transverse arch. The transverse arch is found between the medial and lateral aspects of the foot and is formed by the navicular, okay, the 3 cuneiforms, and the bases of the 5 metatarsals. Okay, so as we note earlier, one function of the arches is to distribute body weight, diba, over the soft and hard tissues of the body. Normally, the ball, okay, the ball of the foot carries around 40% of the weight, and the heel, pag sinabing ball, yun yung bandang harap. The ball of the foot carries about 40% of the weight, and the heel, okay, carries about 60%. The ball of the foot is the padded portion of the sole superficial to the head of the metatarsals. So, alin na metatarsals? Ito. Saan yung head nila? Ito. So, banda rito yung ball ng foot. Okay? So, when a person wears high-heeled shoes, okay, the distribution of the weight changes so that the ball of the foot may carry up to 80% na lang. It carries 80% now of your weight, whereas the heel carries 20% of your weight. So, nagbabago yung biomechanics ng paa natin. And as a result, the fat pads of the ball of the foot are damaged. So when this happens, joint pain develops and the structural changes in the bones may occur. Kaya really, there's really a disadvantage among people who wear, high-heeled shoes for prolonged periods of time or chronically. Okay? So, there you go. O, ayan pala, meron pala akong PowerPoint dito. Okay? So, there. So, that's the clinical correlation of the arches. So, kapag sinabi natin, guys, na flat-footed, what we're saying is that, pantay yung longitudinal arches, both lateral and medial arch. So, pag sinabing, ay, flat-footed ka, madali ka madapa. It's because pantay yung medial and lateral longitudinal arch mo. You have a non-existing medial longitudinal arch na dapat mas mataas siya, di ba? Kaysa sa lateral longitudinal arch. Okay, I'm approaching the last part of my slide. So this is some more clinical correlation. So the bones comprising the arches of the foot, di ba? These are held in position by ligaments and tendons. If these ligaments and these tendons are weakened, the height of the medial, okay, longitudinal arch may decrease or fall. Okay? So, kapag ala ka daw, nag-fall or nag-decrease yung iyong medial longitudinal arch, the result is a flat foot. Okay? So, that causes, flat foot. Okay? So, the causes of a flat foot, okay, it could be excessive weight, it could be postural abnormalities, it could be weakened supporting structures, and there could also be a genetic predisposition. So, bagsak yung medial longitudinal arch. Fallen arches may lead to, so kung wala ka, bagsak yung medial longitudinal arch mo, this can lead to inflammation of the deep fascia of the sole called plantar fasciitis. It could also lead to Achilles tendinitis, okay? Fractures, bunions, calluses. So those. So what do? We design support or arch support for conditions lead to the atrophy of the muscles of the foot. Okay? So, that clinical correlation, okay, I hope made sense about our topic on the arches of the foot. Okay? So, it's basically an interplay between the bones, the joints, and the soft tissues. Okay? So, I think that would be the end of my lecture. Any questions? Do you have questions? Wala naman. All right. So if you don't have any questions, wow, I'm on time. I'm very surprised myself. Faye, you have questions? Sige, go ahead.
Bali, Doc, ano po yung mga joints po na kailangan po namin tandaan sa lower, ano po?
Lahat po.
Lahat.
Lahat po. We will not ask you specifically kung halimbawa if it's an arthrodial joint, ganyan. But I want you guys to be able to name na joint. Pag tinuro natin sa cadaver, for example, talocrural joint, guys, alam nyo dapat na that's between, you can find that between what structures or what bones? Tibia, fibula, and talus, di ba? Tipong ganon. Okay, may tanong pa kayo kasi ako may tanong ako eh. Sige. Practice tayo guys. Practice. For no points. Question 1. List the 3 bones that fuse to form the hip or the coxal bone. Bigyan ko kayo ng 15 seconds. Okay? Sulat nyo lang. Wait lang. Wait lang. Technology is failing me. How to do this? Timer. 15 seconds. Sige, mukhang nasagot nyo na. Next question na lang ako magta-timer. Okay. Alright, next. Question number 2. Which of the following structures is found on the ilium? A. Acetabular notch. Ilium, guys, ilium, ah. B. Outer surface. C. Pectineal line. D. Promontory. 15 seconds. Sige, type nyo if you want. Sobrang dali, ah. Okay. Ang sagot nyo kagad, 10 seconds na lang for timer. Okay. Buwasan natin. Okay. Here, guys. A. Calcaneus. B. Navicular. C. Cuboid. D. Cuneiform. E. Talus. 10 seconds. Uy, guys. Basa mabuti. Most superior. Most superior. Okay, stop. Number 4. Question 4. It is the largest foramen in the human skeleton. A. Foramen ovale. B. Foramen magnum. C. Obturator foramen. D. Vertebral foramen. Go. Puro superlatives, no? Okay. Next. Question 5. Which of the following is true about the female pelvis? Ito, medyo mahirap. A. The iliac crest is more curved. B. The sacrum is longer and curved more anteriorly. C. Its obturator foramen is more round. D. The pubic arch is more than 90 degrees. I think for you guys to be able to answer this, kailangan mabasa niyo yung table. You have to memorize the table. Okay. Number 6. It is the tarsal bone that articulates with the fifth metatarsal. A. Calcaneus. B. Cuboid. C. Navicular. D. Talus. Okay, fifth metatarsal is 2 blank. Okay. Number 7. It is the tarsal bone that articulates with the first metatarsal. A. Intermediate cuneiform. B. Lateral cuneiform. C. Medial cuneiform. D. Navicular. So, if fifth metatarsal is 2 blank, then first metatarsal is 2 blank. Okay. Okay. Third to the last. Which of the following correctly describes the fibula? A. It is parallel, medial to the tibia, and is considerably small. B. The fibula articulates with both tibia and femur to help stabilize the knee. C. The distal fibula forms the lateral malleolus that articulates with the navicula. D. It articulates with the tibia at the proximal end and at the proximal and distal tibiofibular joints. Basa mabuti. Okay. Question number 9. The apex of the patella is located A. Anteriorly, B. Posteriorly, C. Inferiorly, D. Superiorly. Saan ang apex ng patella, guys? Okay. And last but not the least, which among number 10, which among the following tibial structures is the most anterior? Most anterior. A. Fibular notch. B. Intercondylar eminence. C. Tibial spine. D. Tibial tuberosity. Okay. Okay. Let's answer. Sige. So, number 1, Kate. Number 1, Doc Kate Gudes. Number 2, Doc Jane Galamiton. Number 3, Doc Faye Sia. Number 4, Dr. Micaeri Chavez. Number 5, Doc Rojibel Calyao. Number 6, Doc Lizeth Cruz. Number 7, Doc Jan Melanie De Leon. Number 7. Number 8, Doc Frolin Ernestine. Nasa na ako? Part answers. Okay. Number 1. Kindly read the question, tas pakisagutan.
Question number 1 po. List the 3 bones that used to form a hip or coxal bone. Ilium, ischium, and pubis po.
Okay, pamigay. Okay, easy. Number 2. So, wag kakalimutan, ilium, ischium, pubis. Okay, number 2.
Question number 2, which of the following structures is found on the ilium? Answer is letter B, auricular surface.
Okay, the correct answer is, parang mali. Auricular surface, okay, is located where? Nasaan ang auricular surface? What's my answer? Acetabular notch? Okay. What makes you say it's the auricular surface?
Doc, it's auricular surface po yung nag-articulate po sa sacrum. Kaya...
Okay, I agree with you. It's the articular, the ilium is the bone that articulates with the sacrum, and it's the articulation is the auricular surface. So guys, please, mukhang napataas lang. The correct answer is auricular surface, not acetabular notch. Okay, next, number 3. Number 3, please. Number 3. Sino ba yung nakasign sa number 3? Hold on. Sige, I'll call at random na lang, no? Doc Monique Medrano, kindly answer number 3.
Also articulates with the distal end of the tibia. Letter E po, talus.
Okay, the correct answer is E, talus. Very good. So, tatandaan natin tong slide na to. Yung pinaka nasa taas, pinakamalapit sa tibia and fibula is the talus. So, wala nang iba. Siguro malilito kayo sa calcaneus, pero mas mababa pa rin siya kumpara nyo sa talus. So, talus before calcaneus. Okay? Kaya nga siya talocrural joint kasi siya yung siya yung naka-articulate sa tibia. Question 4.
It is the largest foramen in the human skeleton. Letter C po, obturator foramen po.
Are you sure?
Yes po.
Okay, obturator foramen. So, wag nating kalimutan itong slide na to. This is the biggest foramen in the body. covered by the obturator membrane. Okay, pamigay. Number 5, please.
Number 5 po, which of the following is true about the female pelvis? Is it D po?
Okay. So the
The
correct
pubic
answer
arch.
is letter D. The pubic arch is more than 90 degrees. So for you guys to be able to answer that, please study this slide, okay? This part of the PowerPoint. Hindi ko na ito masyadong, I didn't touch much on it because I think Dr. Ortega already mentioned this to you, okay? So this is the comparison between male and female bony pelvis, okay? Yung sinasabi niya na pubic arch is this, di ba? It's below the pubic symphysis. Mas malapad sa babae, more than 90 degrees, compared sa mga lalaki. Kaya hindi ko maintindihan bakit sa jeep, bakit nakabuka kayo mga lalaki? Yung pubic arch nila, ang ninipis, di ba? O, sige, next. Question 6, please.
It is the tarsal bone that articulates with the fifth metatarsal. B po, cuboid.
Okay, o sige, mga panlito sa exam. Pero this is basically memorization and familiarity. Cuboid. O, babalik na naman tayo dito sa slide na ito. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth metatarsal sa nakakonect cuboid. Okay? Very good. Next. Number 7, please.
It is the tarsal bone that articulates with the first metatarsal. Yung medial cuneiform po, letter C.
Okay. Okay, the correct answer is the medial cuneiform. Okay, balik tayo. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. First metatarsal articulates to the medial cuneiform. Huwag nating sasagot ang navicula. Kasi yung navicula, banda dito pa siya sa taas. Diba? Kadikit ng navicula, yung talus or talus, at saka yung mga cuneiforms. Wala yung kinalaman sa mga metatarsals. Okay, very good. Medial cuneiform. Sa exam, pwede ba akong makisuyo? Huwag niyong gamitin yung form 1, 2, 3. Okay, gamitin niyo yung medial, lateral, intermediate para hindi tayo magkalituhan. Number 8, please.
Which of the following correctly describes the fibula? My answer is letter D po. It articulates with the fibula at the proximal and distal tibrofibular joints.
Okay, the correct answer is letter D. So, tatandaan natin itong figure na to. So, what makes letter A wrong? It is parallel, medial to the tibia and is considerably smaller. Anong nagpapamali?
It is lateral po.
Correct. It is parallel, lateral. Grabe naman, ang tibia yung medial, yung fibula, yung lateral. So, this makes it incorrect. Okay? So, para maging tama, it is parallel, lateral to the tibia dapat. What makes letter B incorrect? Ano nagpapamali dito sa statement na to? Letter B. Okay, the fibula articulates with only the
Tibia po.
O, walang kinalaman ng femur dito. Pinag-usapan na natin to Sabi natin, yung fibula hanggang tibia lang yan. Pero distally, abot niya hanggang talus. Okay? So, kaya mali yung letter B. Letter C, bakit siya mali? The distal fibula forms the lateral malleolus that articulates with the navicula. Oh, anong ginagawa ng navicula dito? Di ba yung navicula nasa medial? Okay, kaya siya mali. So, dapat, the distal fibula forms the lateral malleolus, correct yun, that articulates with the talus, not navicula. Okay, so only D is correct. O, number 9. O, tandaan natin itong figure na to, ha? Okay. Number 9.
Number 9 po. The apex of the patella is located sa, C, inferiorly.
Okay, inferiorly, pamigay. So, wag malilito, ang base, siya ngayon yung nasa taas. Okay? Yung apex, siya yung nasa baba. Hence, the answer, apex is located inferior. Walang kinalaman ng anterior and posterior dyan. Kasi, kapag anterior posterior, we're referring to the articular surface. Guys, ano yung articular articular surface, harap o likod? Harap o likod? Ano yung articulating surface dyan? Kayo naman, oh. Siyempre, itong likod, nakalagay nga articular pa sa posterior. Kayo naman. Next. Number 10, last but not the least.
Which among the following tibial structures is the most anterior? Letter D po, tibial tuberosity.
Tibial tuberosity. Let's see. Correct. The correct answer is tibial tuberosity. Sabi natin, anteriorize. So, the correct answer is the tibial tuberosity. Bakit hindi tibial spine? Kasi nasa loob pa yan, di ba? Bakit hindi fibular notch? Okay? Kasi the fibular notch, mas nakapaloob siya. Okay? Bakit hindi intercondylar? Nasan mo ba matatagpuan ng intercondylar notch? Di nasa likod. Di malamang hindi siya yung anterior, di ba? Okay, so the correct answer is letter D. Only, pinakaharap. Tibial tuberosity. Ayun, no? Nasa anterior siya. Okay? So, I think that's the end of my PowerPoint. That's the end of my lecture. Okay. Any questions so far? Hirap na naka-data. Oh, sige. No more questions? Sige. Number 1, may PowerPoint, may video recording of this lecture for you guys to review. Okay? Pero sa totoo lang, yung mga ina-upload ba namin na video, pinapanood nyo ba? Hindi na, di ba? Kasi wala na kayong oras eh. Pinapanood nyo? Kayo na. Sige. But yes, I'm going to upload. Alright? So with that, thank you very much. I'm going to dismiss you.